The news hit like a thunderclap, echoing across the nation and reverberating through every television and radio. It wasn't just another headline, it was a moment that would change the course of countless lives. US imposes 25% tariff on Japanese auto imports. The words flashed across screens, sending shockwaves through the auto industry and beyond. In Washington, it was hailed as a bold move to protect American industry, a decisive step meant to shield domestic automakers from foreign competition and preserve American jobs. But in towns like Georgetown, Kentucky, and Marysville, Ohio, it felt like a gut punch. These were places where the local economy was tied directly to the hum of assembly lines and the steady rhythm of shift changes. The announcement wasn't just policy, it was personal. It struck at the heart of families who had built their lives around the promise of steady work. Communities built around Toyota and Honda plants suddenly faced an uncertain future. The factories that had brought prosperity now cast long shadows of doubt. Disbelief quickly turned to anxiety. Mayors' phones rang non-stop as local officials scrambled for answers, desperate to reassure their citizens but unsure what to say. Local news captured worried faces, broadcasting the fear and confusion that gripped entire communities. Diners fell silent as workers whispered about their jobs, their futures, and what the next day might bring. The usual chatter was replaced by uncertainty. For decades, these towns thrived on the promise of stable, well-paying jobs from automakers woven into the American fabric. Generations had found opportunity and hope on these factory floors. The shock rippled through every corner. Small businesses, real estate, schools, and charities all felt the threat. Every storefront, every classroom, every food bank braced for impact. The line between American and foreign had long since blurred. These cars might bear Japanese names, but they were built by American hands in American towns. Japanese nameplates, but American hands, steel and paychecks. The factories were more than workplaces. They were the backbone of entire communities. The tariff felt like a misunderstanding of reality, a policy pitting one America against another, leaving thousands caught in the crossfire, forced to question their place in a changing world. As night fell, a deep uncertainty settled in. Streets grew quiet, and the glow of factory lights faded, replaced by worry and sleepless nights. The future of families, businesses, and entire communities was suddenly at risk. Every decision, every paycheck, every dream now hung in the balance. The heartland waited, anxious for what would come next. In the stillness of dawn, hope and fear mingled as America's heartland braced for the unknown. In places like Lincoln, Alabama, and Greensburg, Indiana, Honda and Toyota plants are more than just factories. They are the economic lifeblood of their communities, shaping the rhythm of daily life and the future of entire towns. These massive factories provide thousands of stable, well-paying jobs, supporting not only the workers themselves, but also their families, neighbors, and friends. The steady paychecks fuel local economies, allowing families to buy homes, send kids to college, and plan for the future. For every assembly line job inside the plant, several more are created in local suppliers, logistics companies, and service businesses. Mechanics, truck drivers, warehouse workers, and countless others all depend on the plant's success. The impact is visible everywhere. Diners packed with workers grabbing breakfast, car dealerships thriving with new customers, and hardware stores bustling with activity as people invest in their homes and businesses. Tax revenue from these plants helps fund local schools, maintain roads, and support emergency services like fire departments and hospitals, making the entire community stronger and safer. When the plant thrives, so does the town. Main streets stay vibrant, families gather at community events, and there's a sense of pride and optimism in the air. Automakers go beyond just providing jobs. They sponsor school sports teams, fund scholarships for local students, and support charities, weaving themselves into the fabric of the community and creating stability and hope for the next generation. New businesses open their doors, housing developments rise, and real estate markets grow, all built on the confidence that the economic engine of the plant will keep running strong for years to come. But without these plants, many towns would face a harsh reality: shuttered stores, empty playgrounds, shrinking populations, and a loss of hope that can be hard to reverse. The Toyota and Honda effect is the difference between opportunity and despair, between a thriving community and one struggling to survive. That's why the threat of tariffs feels existential here. It's not just a policy debate, but a looming danger that could pull the plug on the entire community's way of life. For these towns, a tariff isn't just another tax, it's a direct threat to their very survival, their dreams, and the future they've worked so hard to build. Inside the factories, tension is thick. The air is heavy with uncertainty, and every shift begins with a sense of unease that's hard to shake. The familiar hum of machinery, once a sign of steady work, is now underscored by worry. Each clang and whir seems to echo the anxiety felt by everyone on the floor. Breakroom chatter has shifted from weekend plans and family stories to hushed conversations about rumors, layoffs, shutdowns, and what the future might hold. Workers, some with decades at the plant, now fear for their jobs, their homes, and the well-being of their families. The sense of stability they once relied on feels like it's slipping away. The uncertainty doesn't stay at work, it follows them home. Around dinner tables, families discuss savings, contingency plans, and what they'd do if the main income vanished. Children pick up on the tension, asking questions parents struggle to answer. The tariff, a distant decision made in Washington, feels like a gamble with their lives. News reports spark more questions than answers, and every headline brings a new wave of concern. In boardrooms, managers scramble to calculate the impact. They pore over spreadsheets trying to predict what the next quarter will bring. Can they absorb the cost, or will they be forced to make painful decisions? The numbers don't add up easily, and the pressure mounts with every passing day. Will they cut jobs, reduce hours, or pass costs to consumers? The pressure is enormous, and every option comes with consequences that ripple through the community. Executives know that thousands of livelihoods hang in the balance. The weight of responsibility is visible in every decision, every conversation. The sense of security that once defined these jobs has been shattered. What was once a safe bet for a lifetime career now feels precarious. Workers and leaders alike are left with more questions than answers. The uncertainty is shared, and it binds everyone together in a collective anxiety. The anxiety is real, and the stakes couldn't be higher. For many, it's not just about a paycheck. It's about dignity, stability, and the future of their families. The workforce waits, hoping for clarity, fearing the worst. Every announcement, every memo, is met with apprehension. Every day, the uncertainty grows, weeks pass and the questions only multiply, leaving everyone on edge. The future of America's manufacturing heartland is on edge, its people waiting for answers and hoping for a lifeline that may or may not come. What is this 25% tariff? It's a tax on every car and auto part imported from Japan. The goal: protect American automakers by making imports more expensive, hoping to boost U.S. jobs. Supporters argue it's a way to fight unfair trade and revive American manufacturing. The administration claims it will force Japanese companies to build more cars in the U.S., creating jobs. But the policy is a high-stakes gamble, targeting a close ally and assuming benefits will outweigh the costs. The reality: modern auto manufacturing is deeply integrated. The line between us and them is blurred. The tariff's logic is simple, but the consequences are anything but. In a global industry, protectionism can have unexpected results. The 25% tariff will hit American consumers first. When import costs rise, so do car prices. Automakers won't absorb the increase, they'll pass it on. A new Toyota or Honda could cost thousands more overnight, pushing cars out of reach for many families. The tariff also applies to parts, raising costs for vehicles assembled in the U.S. with Japanese components. Sticker shock will ripple through dealerships. Some buyers will delay purchases, others will turn to used cars, driving up those prices too. Even American brands may raise prices, taking advantage of the new market. The result: fewer choices, higher costs for everyone. The tariff acts as a regressive tax, hitting lower and middle-income families hardest. For many, a car is a necessity, not a luxury. The promise of protecting jobs comes at a steep price. At the dealership, Americans will feel the impact in their wallets. The idea of a purely American or foreign car is a myth. Today's cars are global products, designed, engineered, and assembled across continents. A Camry built in Kentucky might have a Japanese engine, Mexican seats, and American steel. The 25% tariff on Japanese imports disrupts this global supply chain, raising costs at every step. Even made-in-America cars rely on imported parts. The tariff penalizes American workers and factories, not just Japan. U.S. manufacturing is deeply intertwined with the world. Taxing parts makes American factories less competitive. If costs rise too high, companies may cut U.S. production or move jobs elsewhere. The policy meant to create jobs could end up destroying them. The ripple effects hit small businesses, suppliers, and trucking companies nationwide. The tariff's blunt approach ignores the complexity of modern manufacturing. In a connected world, simple solutions can have painful, far-reaching consequences. Toyota and Honda have spent decades investing in America. Since the 1980s, they've built factories, research centers, and headquarters across the country. Their investment totals tens of billions, creating over 100,000 direct U.S. jobs, many in high-skilled fields. Hundreds of thousands more work at American suppliers supporting these plants. These companies are woven into the fabric of local communities, funding schools, charities, and disaster relief. They see themselves as American companies with Japanese heritage. The tariff feels like a slap in the face, penalizing companies that did exactly what U.S. leaders asked: build here, hire here, invest here. It sends a chilling message to other global investors. Your commitment may not protect you from political risk. Decades of partnership are suddenly at risk, and the future of foreign investment in America hangs in the balance. The roots run deep, but the ground is shifting. The tariff has sparked a fierce national debate. Supporters, led by the president, see it as a way to protect American industry and restore lost jobs. They argue that short-term pain is worth the long-term goal of rebuilding factories and asserting economic strength. This message resonates in communities hit hard by deindustrialization. Critics, including economists and local leaders, warn the tariff will destroy more jobs than it creates by disrupting supply chains and raising costs. They argue it punishes companies that have invested in America and hurts consumers with higher prices. The risk of retaliation looms. Other countries could target U.S. exports, harming farmers and tech companies. For critics, global supply chains are a source of strength, not weakness. The debate is about more than cars. It's a clash between nationalism and globalism, protectionism and free trade. The country is divided and the stakes are high. The outcome will shape America's economic future. This tariff is more than a policy. It's a turning point for America. Will the country turn inward or continue to embrace global trade? The risk of a trade war is real. Japan could retaliate, targeting U.S. exports and straining a vital alliance. Sudden tariffs send a message of instability, making foreign investors think twice about building in America. The world has changed. Manufacturing is global, and the lines between domestic and foreign are blurred. The future of towns like Georgetown and Marysville depends on adapting to this new reality. The tariff tests whether America will move forward or try to recreate the past. The livelihoods of hundreds of thousands and the nation's identity hang in the balance.